job creator. They go to the business that brings the job in. They don't go to the developer. They go to the business that brings the job in. That's why I'm against it. It has nothing to do with being on the St. Mary's board. It has to do with ethics and clean politics. And giving $8 million back is unethical and not a good deal for the city. Now, we can talk about Miami. Miami, I didn't even know that this was in the process. My director of economic development, my director of the CRA went down to meet with this gentleman who was more rude than I can even explain. But it was all part of this 10-site deal. And that's what you have to watch out for, people. You want somebody in City Hall who is not going to cater to special interests, not going to cater to my ex-husband, the lobbyist, not going to cater to my friend who my mother worked for, not going to cater to Digital Domain and my friend John Texter, not going to give way to people who are asking for favors from me.
Do you think the 10th site's still a good idea?
It absolutely is. It's a home run for this community, and it's not a hospital. Also, by the way, it's not being conceived as a hospital, but yes, it is a spectacular opportunity to bring, again, real jobs and create the energy behind other jobs that will transform what we're looking at in West Palm Beach. These are the kinds of moments that you have to understand, work to get, and bring home in a very prudent, financially sound way, which of course we would do.
Thank you. And you'll note, gentlemen, I'm breaking format slightly because I think it's antiseptic to not allow them to have some degree to respond to one another. So forgive me if I break format just a little so that you can hear. And a brief rebuttal.
Rebuttal 30 seconds.
Rebuttal 30 seconds, Mayor.
Yes, you know, the jobs that were going to be counted on the 10 site would be moving doctors from Jupiter Medical Center to West Palm Beach. Now, Mr. McCluskey wanted us to give $25,000 for each doc who would move from Jupiter Medical Center to the health center, whatever this is,
Mayor,
in West Palm.
thank you. We're in a new line of questioning, and thank you, gentlemen. We've got some expert timers and rules keepers, and I appreciate it all. Commissioner, thank you very much. We're going to go to a question that came from this audience, and you both are trying to take me to a place that I was going to go to more quickly than I was going to get there, about lobbyist influence that both of you have been, at least in some quarters, deemed to, or accused might be too strong a word, but people who feel both of you have been too influenced. I promise you we will get there to specific questions for both of you on that topic shortly. A question from this audience. One of the biggest issues facing the city of West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County is the future development just west of the city's western communities, Callery Judge, for example. Communities such as Bay Winds are concerned too much development to our west will result in the need to further increase the capacity of Okeechobee Boulevard. This questioner says many residents are concerned that a flyover over State Road 7 will be built right next to Bay Winds. What are your plans to minimize the impacts of these developments to city roads and infrastructure? Commissioner, 90 seconds.
Yeah, I first.
But with rebuttal that you finished, so we'll start.
Okay, well, here's the, in generalities and as quickly as I can get this in. We are an important community in Palm Beach County, but we're not the only community in Palm Beach County. We have neighbors all around us, to the west, to the north, the south, and even to the east, all the way into Palm Beach. A prudent leader would be working with these communities. We also know this, death, taxes, those are certain, and so is change and growth. But what kind of growth? And how are we going to actually be the stewards of what kind of growth we want, as opposed to sitting there almost in a passive point of view, and then when something comes, we stand up to oppose it. Because I can tell you this, folks, we can win once in a while, we won't win all the time opposing everything. So what my plan is to sit down, and I've done this before where it's actually worked, but sit down with leaders in the different communities, because we all share the same concerns. Water, roads, crowded, overdevelopment. They don't want to see it any more than we do. And the roads that come are as a result of overdevelopment. That's why those roads get built, and that's why those roads are still sitting on the county's plans.
Mayor, 90 seconds, same question.
Yes, I'm opposed to development west of here. I think the development that's proposed at Minto, Avenir, GL Homes, it's all too big and too large. My understanding is that the flyover at Okeechobee State Road 7 has been abandoned, that they're no longer talking about that. We did bring to the City Commission a resolution that stated that we urged the county to stick to their comprehensive plan so that development occurs, but it occurs within the comprehensive plan and it's smart development. When we brought that the first time, my opponent suggested that it was not a good idea to get involved in other municipalities' business. So we came back a second time, and fortunately we had the votes to get it passed, and we did pass a resolution stating that we felt that county needed to stick to their comprehensive plan.
This question will begin for the mayor. First answer, you talked about it in your opening remarks a bit. I know it's of great concern to so many of you in our audience tonight. The city's done much, this questioner asked from this community and presented their question and statement. The city's done much to try to prevent the extensions of Roebuck Road, from Jog Road to State Road 7 extension, and State Road 7 to North Lake Boulevard. What this questioner asked, will you do as mayor to continue this effort? And I would only supplement that question by asking that there are those who say that to some extent there has to be a recognition that this county and state of coming up on 20 million people is going to have to accept and manage this rather than turning its back on this kind of development. So to that question and that challenge in a growing state and community, 90 seconds, beginning with you, Mayor.
Okay, yes, I am opposed to State Road 7, I'm opposed to Roebuck Road, and I will continue to fight both of those with all of the ability I have to fight it. I am supported by Lois Frankel, Ted Deutsch, Patrick Murphy, and Elsie Hastings. All those people are congressional representatives in Washington. They're the people I talk to about State Road 7, and they listen. I'm going to continue to talk to people in Tallahassee about State Road 7. And once they start filing for permits, we will be in court fighting those permits. And we absolutely need to address that. The issue about growth, State Road 7 is a road to nowhere. It goes to North Lake Boulevard and it stops there. You either have to go east or you have to go west. It's not going to alleviate any traffic. We've had traffic studies done over and over and over again. And those traffic studies show that with State Road 7 built, there is no alleviation of traffic. The roads continue to be ranked at low level, and they will go even lower in some places if State Road 7 is built. There's no reason for State Road 7. It goes nowhere, it doesn't alleviate traffic, and the same can be said about Roebuck Road.
Commissioner, 90 seconds for you. Same question. Do you have the same robust opposition to this project?
Well,
90 seconds, please.
This is how I want to answer the question. I have never been a partisan person. I've been somebody who supports Republicans and Democrats. I get along with Republicans and Democrats. I'm not as partisan as probably my mom would like, but that's how she raised me. I get along with lots of different people.
Commissioner, excuse me, but specifically to the question, do you oppose the project?
I'm getting there.
Thank you.
Again, anybody in this room can oppose State Road 7, and we do. The difference is what knowledge and what talents and relationships do you have to get the job accomplished. So, as an example, I put a call into our governor to ask if I could get a private meeting with Secretary of Transportation. He's brand new. I think he's been on the job 3 weeks, and I've got a meeting. In fact, I found out that the mayor then decided to kind of scoot in on my meeting with him on the 19th, which I think, I'm glad you thought it was a good idea, because it is. But we have to sit down and look at this comprehensively. Of course we are opposing it. She's right. That's something else we agree on. It's a road to nowhere. But it doesn't end there. We have to work together to find what that solution is, because there's gonna be some kind of road, and we want whatever it is to be in our best interest.
Thank you. Next question. I want my staff and I last year covered a lot of the debate with the police department. Vince DeMasi here for 2 years before retiring. He even then talked about a reduction in crime. You mentioned yet a greater reduction now, overall reduction, and yet at the same time, he complained about the fact that he had lack of police officers, old police cruisers, a building in need of renovation, overall concerns about the ability of the West Palm Beach Police Department to do its job on into the future, a growing future for communities like these. What specifically, since those complaints were lodged well more than a year ago, and we'll begin with you, Commissioner, have you all done, or can you do, budget-wise, equipment-wise, manpower-wise, and I'd also, for our audience here, include in terms of the need for growing substations here. Specifics, please.
Okay. I met with Chief Demasi and I toured the building that is our police station downtown. It is in really bad condition. The roof leaks. When the power goes down, I want you to this is the honest to God truth. When the power goes out there, they have some archaic generator, and they've got a little guy. I think they picked the little guy because the suit they had to make him is so expensive. He has to zip up into. When he pulls something out to plug it in, it's a metal suit so that the arc doesn't electrocute him. I'm not kidding. So I said, and I went back to our city, at the time he was our finance director, and now he's our city manager, and I said, we've got capital projects that we need to get accomplished all over the city. And I looked at the numbers of revenue stream that's currently coming in without raising taxes, and instead of doing it piecemeal and pay as you go, that we would put together a bonding program, and I've talked about this repeatedly to the commission, to the mayor. Nobody did it, so I went ahead and I put it together, and in fact, I'm going to deliver that at the south end. I wasn't expecting to talk about it here, but a bonding program that would pay for those kinds of things because we have to.
Mayor, same question from the former chief, the concerns, and I'd like to hear an answer as well about the manpower concerns, the cruiser concerns, and for this audience, substation need and growth for the protection of this particular community.
I will give you some specifics, actually, Michael. First of all, we are just about at full capacity. We've done several promotional and swearing in over the last 2 years, so we're at about our 298 capacity right now in terms of the police. The problem was not that we didn't have enough positions budgeted. The problem was we had to fill those positions, so those positions are filled. I've gone to several swearing in and promotional ceremonies. Substations, we don't do substations in West Palm Beach, and we don't because we've looked at it and found that it really is not any more effective than what we're already doing. We have community-based policing, we move forward with that, but we don't do substations. I just talked with our few folks today. We are starting roof repairs. It'll be about $800,000. Move forward with roof repairs, which we have been planning to do that. We are moving on to having a state-of-the-art radio system. Our police are now going to be using cameras that were in the budget before anything like Ferguson happened. Those will be starting on March 1st. I'm very proud of the work that our police department does. They're a hardworking group of people. They're committed. They're in the community. People know who they are. They get the job done. And I think we've made a lot of progress. I also want to mention that
You have to wrap, and I love that sign comes up in a very forceful way. It has been said on the national level that Americans love big government services but only want to pay small government taxes. To the question of taxes, do you believe in a growing community with all of the needs that you're suggesting that we can rule out raising taxes? Would you support, if it calls for that, making that kind of tough decision? Begin with you.
Yeah, I have approached the work that we do on the budget the same way every year. We go in saying we're not going to raise the millage rate. We have not raised the millage rate in a number of years, even though my opponent suggested that we move the millage rate up to 9.1 2 years ago. That's what went into the tax collectors or the appraiser's office, 9.1 from an 8.2 millage. And I'm committed to keeping our millage rate down. We don't have a lot of room. We can only go up to 10. So we have to figure out, we have to bring businesses in, to expand our tax base. We have to improve our neighborhoods so that property values go up. Property values have gone up from $8.1 billion to $9 billion in the last 4 years. So they're going up, and we need to keep that happening. We need to bring businesses in, and we need to be frugal with the taxpayers' money.
No tax rate hike under a Muoio second administration, no matter what,
There's no plan at this point for that.
which is a little different than no matter what.
Well, let's just talk about that for a minute, guys. I don't vote on the budget. The commission votes.
But you sit there and have tremendous influence.
I present the budget, and the commission decides what they're going to vote on, and I will not present a budget with an increased millage.
Commissioner, same question to you. No new taxes, no way, or are you open to the possibility, given the growth and the needs of this community, to that possibility over the next 4 years?
I have never, ever, I don't even know where the mayor came up with that last quip, ever. Anybody who knows me knows I have never supported an increase and have always fought to lower the millage and be responsible and lower the millage, live within our means. I have taken on more battles, and I've got the scars to prove them, where it came to not spending money. Spending money isn't a bad thing. Wasting money is a horrible thing. So when it comes to that, I'm not sure where she came up with that, but that's what I'll say about that. I want to say this. Last week, we're sitting in a debate, and the mayor and almost every commission candidate was asked the question, would you support a minimum wage for all city employees of $15 an hour? Everyone but me said yes, they would do that. Now, how do you conflate those two things when right now I think the minimum wage for all city employees, the minimum, is $10 an hour? This is a woman who said to the people in that room, to all of us, she would support $15 an hour. How do you, we just heard about the millage cap, we've got a cap. How do you do that? So, I'll go back to the original question. No, I would not support it. We can do better. I will work to make sure we do better with every dollar you give us and the businesses give us.
I'd like to always do a midpoint correction. I'd like a show of hands. How many of you feel and I know a lot of you are the most engaged politically, and I salute you for that, but given that, listening to what you have thus far, how many of you feel that you have enough of a sense of what makes one different for that mayoral chair than the other? And how many of you are sitting here still, I still like them to sharpen what would make them different than the other as mayor? How many of you are sitting here saying, I'm still not getting what would make them that much different? Or all of you see the tremendous differences between them? Wow, this audience has already dialed in on who they're going for. I would ask you, and I've got one giving me the eagle eye look in the middle of the crowd, which I appreciate. I want to ask you though, dial in for me. I'm hearing, as one of the political pundits I talked to today said, at the end of the day, these are two people who've agreed on an awful lot, and if they disagree, it's around the margins. Again, clarify, for those who need it, apparently not many, Commissioner, fundamentally what a first policies, major policies of your administration would be different than Mayor Muoio's.
A first policies, okay. I can tell you like first day and first week. This city is made up of not just the great residents and businesses, but amazing city workers. I mean, from my favorite sanitation guy to wonderful legal minds in our legal department. However, there is not a sharpened sense of what the mission is, what we're there to do. We aren't there to keep ourselves there. We are there to do a service for the people we swore that we would. So my philosophy is we are going to pick a team that understands where it is that we're going to go, and if they're not down with where we're going to go, they're going to go. We are going to set, and the people in this room are going to help us set those priorities for the things that really matter. We are going to challenge the status quo. The status quo doesn't always work. We live in a world that is changing right before our very eyes. We should be willing to look at everything and challenge it. Can we do better? Can we be smarter? Can we be more nimble? Yeah, I know we can.
Mayor?
Well, one of the things I say to my staff all the time is even on our best day, we can be better. We have a lot of good days, but we can get better, and I would be the first to say that. We will be embarking on a community-wide strategic planning effort shortly after the election, where we've nominated people from each of the communities to get involved with helping us develop our strategic plan. That will be one of my priorities. We will also continue to focus on an open and transparent government. I am the first mayor to have a regular media briefing at 10:30 every Wednesday morning. Anybody from the media can come in and ask me any question about any topic. That will continue because openness and transparency is important to me. Economic development will continue to be high on our hit list. And one of the ways you are able to get to that $15 minimum wage is by bringing more taxpayers into our city, by bringing more businesses into our city.